Welcome to Captive Conversations. I'm your host, Adam from Captive Wi-Fi. Join us as we dive into behind-the-scenes stories of hospitality leaders, exploring tech, operations, and marketing through the eyes of the experts. Let's get the inside scoop together.
Hello, everyone. Episode 37. Happy 2025. This is the first podcast in 2025. We have another one that's coming out shortly, but that was recorded in December. So happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Still New Year, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
So I've known Sam for quite a while. I've met Nick a few times. Oh, actually, once.
Twice now.
Twice now.
This is your first proper conversation.
Yes.
It's exciting.
I have to speak to him.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's a big part
you
of
don't
it.
have to speak to me, seriously. You can just, So I'm a slightly different setup here, so hopefully the audio will be all right. But I've been trying to arrange times because you guys aren't London-centric.
No.
And I like the face-to-face sort of chats.
Yeah.
So thank you for arranging time and on the end of the RMIs, which I'm sure were fun.
They were.
And I will be there next year. This year was a busy one. Okay. So, Candid Hospitality, but we'll get to that in a bit. But we have two questions from the last guest, and that was Johnny and Matt from Crowd. And the first question was, what is the most overlooked aspect of the guest experience that you believe can make a significant difference? Now, you can choose who wants to answer the questions. So,
Do you want to take this one?
I'll take this
Whatever
one,
the
yeah.
next one is.
I think technology is overlooked quite a lot. I've worked in technology my entire life in various roles and guises, and we, as technologists, like to make it tricky for people. And we should often take a step back and look about how we can be frictionless with technology and not force a guest to have to do A, B, or C. I always loved anything that was very light touch but high tech in the back end. So yeah, we should be conscious that not everyone wants technology. It doesn't always work. And actually can hinder a journey, not improve it.
do you think that it should be the customer's choice?
Yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah.
I come off the back of forcing it down customers' necks for my entire life. Guests even, guests' necks for my entire life. But yeah, it should be a choice. It should be there if they want it and straightforward to use.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's what the back end's going to look like, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Next question. How important is the role of storytelling in building a brand? Well, I mean, we know who's going to answer this question.
I'll finish one. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm probably biased, and there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat in building a brand, but in my opinion, especially in hospitality, I'd say it's probably on equal footing with the actual quality of the product. When you're trying to bring people along on a journey, because when you're first starting, maybe you don't have the final product, or it's a MLP, as we call it, a minimum lovable product.
Oh, a minimum lovable product.
Yeah, quite like. I'm not sure we invented it though.
We've stolen it.
It's not like you created it or at least utilising it because...
We like what it means. But by telling our story, I mean, there's a phrase which is very cheesy, which is people won't remember what you did or what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And we see that a lot because we're very open and transparent in our storytelling. We try and bring people along every high, every low, every failure, every success, every silly thought we've had. We try and bring everyone into it. And at events like last night, which was the RMI Awards, a lot of the most regular comments were people kind of just praising our storytelling and commentary and videos and involvement. And that's what they remember when they see your face. Because the really important thing to remember for anyone building a brand is you might have this amazing concept that will literally improve the sector, but the people that you want to sell it to and have engaged with it, they're so busy. They've got hundreds of companies trying to get their time, trying to get them to move from one product to another or install another. They've got so many layers of decision makers to go through. So you have to emotively connect with them where they go, I want to be part of that. That seems like an attractive story. So I think storytelling is top priority.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I find it interesting. Obviously, you have a personal brand, so which is nice to leverage. As I'm trying to build that too. So I think it's really important. The whole anything, if you can bring people on, because you brought people along on the journey, and people feel invested because they're being brought on the journey.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice piece with, especially not just the network, but bring people along. The guys in the US we do live streams with are all very much, they love saying anything about story. Everything was all about story, and I don't think we do enough here.
No,
there's not enough brands here. Like, I was at an event yesterday and they were all talking about personal brand, we got company brand, and intertwining. So I agree. Okay,
Good questions.
Thanks. So that's the guys from Crown. So thank them. So standard questions. Best hospitality experience.
I feel like mine's been said about 36 times previously from 37. Dishoom.
Okay.
I assume it's been said.
A couple of times.
So yeah, breakfast service there, you can't fault it. It's relaxed, it's exactly what you need it to be. You can stay for as long as you want, then you top your glass up without even really having to have any interactions. They see it half full, they top it up, you don't even know it's happened. But yeah, the whole point thing that is faultless. So.
I think an interesting piece is that I know what people that don't even know they do breakfast. I speak to people and they go, they do breakfast. They're open for breakfast, but they're busy for breakfast.
Don't tell people.
Yeah. We need less cues there.
Yeah, no.
Okay, best hospitality experience. I just love new, different things, so I love trying as much as I can. And recently, when on the recommendation of an ex-colleague, Tess, from Airship to Ember, which is Old Pudding Lane in the city, and the hospitality and the hosting there was, I literally have a jaw open, I think, at one point, because the gentleman that runs it, Tico, takes you in, guides you down the stairs, tells the history about the brand and what they're trying to achieve. And as he sits you down, he says, just 1 second, I want to take you on a journey, explain what we're going to do here in terms of how we're going to serve you. And he literally preaches to the tale of what's going to happen, and then they live up to it, and they involve you, and they're filming content, and it's just, you feel really special. The food and drink was incredible, the setting was beautiful, but the hospitality offer was like top tier, and anyone that I speak to, go and see Tico at Ember. It's really good.
I remember seeing the video actually, and I think I messaged him after you went. He's like, "Yeah, please come down."
Oh, he even messaged us last night saying, "Good luck with the awards, unprompted." Like, they're really into just this. I hope they never lose it. It's fantastic.
Nice. Okay, amazing. Best hospitality tech. No self-noms.
We've got a joint one here, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go, sprung that on you.
So, no self-noms. Okay. I mean, I'd like to say Storkit, but I'm involved with those guys and they're fantastic.
I was going to say Jolly, but I'm involved with them, so I can't say him. So.
The one that I've been most interested in recently, because it's genuinely different, and when the chap that runs it explained it to me, I was like, I've not seen anything like this before. It's really caught my attention. It is a company called Guestwise. And so it's run by Kerry Ben, the chap who was previously Flight. And they've got a really unique relationship with Mitchell and Butler.
Yeah.
And what they're doing now across a number of different brands, Honest Burger included, is they run a script on websites, and they enable you to interact with your customers based on not just the activity on your website and your social assets like social, but also the information you know about them in your CRM. So, I mean, really simple use cases are, if they know who you are through your CRM and they go to book a table and abandon that journey, even without putting their email into your website, they can trigger an email to say, "Hey Adam, don't forget to complete your booking." Or they can do something where they say, "Show me and Nick a different version of the website," because they know we've got young children, versus someone who might not have children. They don't see the family friendly menu, they see something on the website that's completely different. So that to me is like, oh, I've not seen that before. And anyone doing that, I think, is going to have a lot of success.
I agree. I think that's pretty awesome. We had him on the podcast. And I can, as you know, I can speak fast, but I have learned over the years.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I have learned over the years to slow down because, people, and so we did the podcast. I was trying to keep slow, and I showed the podcast to my kids, and they were like, "Was that in times 2? Is that?"
Oh my gosh! There's like friction coming out of the microphones and that smoke coming out.
I think maybe you should have a conversation with Kerry, and you can do some content for him, because it comes out nice and slow from you. You said it quite well.
Oh yeah, we could do like a I'll stand behind it.
Yeah,
he talks rap.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
all the hands through the arms, right?
Yeah. Who's like this on his thing? Yeah. Well, great guy, great company.
Yeah, I agree. It's really interesting what they do. Another thing that's really interesting what they do as well is that if you haven't opened the email, they can target you on Meta.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's the joining up of the two is really cool.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in time, which is a nice one, really. So and have a listen and where it all started. So who would like to go first? Maybe they can go first, because we are, we have enough time.
Oh, plenty of time.
But you mean he'll speak for longer?
Yeah,
exactly.
So get the important piece in, because you'll be like, Sam's spoken for 40 minutes.
I'm very used to it.
Yeah.
Actually. So back in time, I trained as, I guess, a developer, but didn't like being told what to do. So I moved into design, thinking, well, actually, they seem to be more cooler, better trainers, that kind of stuff. we moved into design, and again, didn't like being told what to do. So I guess my formative years have been working at media and marketing agencies, and in 2014 set up Omnify. So we were a digital agency in hospitality and retail. The retail work was very, very fanciful. It was big touch screens on Oxford Street, and you could go to it and look at you and think, right, you're probably 6'1", you're probably a man, you're possibly 35, you're currently wearing some Barber trainers, I'm going to try and flog you these Nike ones. Completely pointless, right? Just fanciful technology for the sake of it. And
Sounds pretty awesome, to be honest with you.
it
It sounds like Minority Report when you're like, we're in a
so it's great. It's lovely to work on, but as you know,
Watching me, they're watching me.
it had physical hardware in it, and we weren't ready for physical hardware to break and screens to break. We were a team of 6 or 7 or however many we were at the time. And then just randomly got a call from a lady called Sam Brown, who worked at a restaurant group, who said, I've been giving you details by another agency. Can you fix our app, please? And it was a Frankie and Bennett's app. So we inherited that from Sam and whichever agency it was from. I guess within a year and a half, we were the restaurant group's sole digital agency on a retainer, building all sorts of stuff from left, right and centre. And a lot of what we built touched their tills, their CMS. And I soon realised that actually the more we integrate into as a business, the stickier we become, the better we become. Relationships that we've formed with our partners, that's where our relationship started through Dan Brookman. So we just got our hands on a lot of hospitality clients. We weren't noisy. We didn't go out there and do a lot of
5 point of me.
I think everyone knows why. We weren't noisy. We worked on referrals, and also worked on the fact that a lot of hospitality people are very good at their job, so they move on. They take you with you. Sophie Evans, who's now...
I will say something about that. The really nice piece of this industry is that happens. So as and it's quite an incestuous industry.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So the flow of customers that you get from people moving around is a really nice piece. So,
It's great. Sophie Evans, who's now at Leisure Rights TV, I think I've worked with at 4 different businesses.
Yeah.
I've built 4 different websites, for lots of learnings. So yeah, it's great. And I guess we'll come on to COVID and all the other questions, I think. But COVID hit, we had to pivot the business. We were professional services, we were on time retainer with our clients, and they all went to bed. We had a team of 35. I thought, shit, what do we do? I swore, man, I'd swear.
You're allowed to swear.
I thought, shit, fuck, what do we do? And we pivoted. We built an order at table solution that was called Orderbee. It went fairly well. We signed up 45 clients in the space of 4 or 5 weeks, but they were all decent-sized enterprise clients. We had very little on the single site range, but almost everything from a zonal client point of view, at least, on the enterprise. And we did that for 18 months, and Access swooped in and bought us, and I went to work for a little bit, and then stopped. I guess if I was to try and define what I am, I'd struggle, but I am a customer-focused strategic technologist.
Oh, what now?
Yeah,
That's nice.
Customer-focused strategic technology.
Well, so what he wants you to do is go into ChatGPT and then make that into plain speak.
Great, yeah.
Because then you can put it on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Great.
I won't. That's his job. Well, I mean, to nut it up, I guess I understand technology but don't do it. I understand what customers and guests want, and I will work with them. I understand why strategically both those things should work together.
It's a nice word of consultant.
Yeah.
Because you can make anyone can be a consultant, right?
Oh, yeah.
For anything. So I think hospitality consultant, tech consultant, I think
Perfect.
I think that's a good one. Or okay, amazing. And so then you got how long do you access for?
6 months.
Okay. were you like I'm out?
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
Sense it pretty.
I'm gonna put arrows in the screen.
I was up to be honest, but it wasn't for me. There was no need for me to be there. Simon, my co-founder and business partner, because Access had all the people doing what Access does. So in a way, we just got in the way.
And is that product still there?
It's still there.
Or is it just something else?
But they obviously recently bought QuickServe, so I think they'll be merging it into...
And Patronics.
And Patronics, yeah. I saw Stephen from Axel last night. I said, you're busy? He's like, if you just keep buying stuff. Almost with a sigh, and then realised what he said. He's like, it's great, yeah.
It's great, yeah. Well,
yeah.
So then after Access, what was...
So after Access, I had about a very fortunate 12 months with my 3 young children. And it's possibly the best 12 months I've ever had in my entire life. it's just nice to be there. I mean, running a business, no matter what size, is hard, right? You have to be, it is your child. You have to be there, you have to be present. You're always thinking about it. Whatever matter what you're doing, you're actually still thinking about work or whatever it is you're doing it. I'm enjoying being back in that right now. But to take 12 months off was, I guess, ingratiating, but also a little bit like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Do I learn a new skill? Do I start golfing? No. Do I exercise? No. So I bought a house and stripped it out and renovated it.
You know.
Which we're now in, thank God.
Actually, hold on. So we went in the house while renovating.
There's holes and mice and birds and all sorts of it.
I had a similar situation where we bought it, thought we could move in, and we were like, look at the racks now.
Yeah.
So that's a fun project.
Yeah,
how long
was great.
How long was that project then?
Well, it is a list of buildings. For the first 12 months was just arguing with the council.
Oh, geez.
But after 6 months of access, I was really well trained for it, I guess. You might need to censor it.
I don't like censoring.
Well, don't. So first of all through the council, and then just getting various trades in to do various things. And I was a project manager for years, so the start and end we'll find our way.
Yeah.
I never delivered a single project on time or on budget, but I think it's basically impossible to do so.
Yeah.
Because stuff changes, stuff gets in the way. I didn't tell the clients that. I told them I'd definitely be able to deliver it, definitely be able to do it.
Yeah, positivity.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done a little bit of consulting, a little bit of network, which I've really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then I guess started speaking to Sam every single day.
Which will now be your favourite 12 months?
Yeah.
Oh, that was 12 months 12 months speaking to you every day.
Oh, well, your 12 months with your kids were previously your favourite 12 months.
Yes.
This year's about to become your favourite 12
Oh,
months.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, great. Why
I'm to follow up in 8 months, and he'll be like,
Don't believe that.
you'll come in with the Sam face on, printed face. Yeah. So Sam too. Okay, and so that's basically when we're up to now when you guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
this
to
time last
clarify.
year. This time last year, I'd met Sam twice in person, and we spoke a little bit. Not much, a little bit. And by speaking, I mean WhatsApp or Instagram. And it was this time last year. It was at RMI. There was a second time I met you, and at some point in April, which I guess we'll come on to short in terms of the origin story of Candid, he just sent me a few weird messages. First one, because I remember it was, what do you actually do? I said, what do you mean? He's like, job-wise, what are you? And I said I was a technology-focused hospitality consultant, whatever I said.
I put it to chat GTP. I was like, what is it?
Exactly. Yeah. But yes, I'd like just to be back at it now, doing whatever he needs help with, basically.
It seems to be working well.
Amazing. So, okay, perfect. We'll come to that in a minute. So, question for you. So, the Audible thing, was that the pivot, the COVID pivot to get something going?
Absolutely. We were professional services, retained teams, very lucky with the clients that we work. We had 6-figure contracts with restaurant groups, Stonegate, and smaller ones with smaller brands, like the same as you guys will. And we wanted to build a product. We were bored of the agency world, bored of the agency game. I'd done it for 10, 15 years probably. And it's hard. And you don't get much joy out of it because you're literally trying to say, right, this is what we think you should do. And client A, B, or C will be like, we're going to do it slightly different because it's our business. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But like all the stuff that goes with agencies. So we had loads of work coming down the track. We'd made a kind of strategic document to say, right, in the next 12 months, we'll start to think about pivoting to SaaS. We knew it would either be an order at table solution because we ran everything for WAGs, everything for TRG, Alchemist, a few bits at start for Stonegate, or we were going to build a website in a box platform, a little bit Elementor from WordPress for hospitality. It would integrate into everything we'd already built integrations into. And it was one or the other. We wrote it down, put it away, never thought about it again. COVID hit. Client, 18th of March, from about 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 at night, every single one of our 50 odd clients rang me and said, I can't pay you for that, I won't pay you for that, stop doing this, we're not sure what's going on. And I sat at home, good time, in Bedley in East Yorkshire with my business partner in London and thought, I don't know what to do. What do we do here? We just migrated.
Pulled out that piece of paper.
Well, we just migrated financial systems as well, so I had no real visibility on. I mean, I knew it was in the bank, and I knew roughly how long it would last us. No visibility on how long it would last us to the day, which is kind of the thing that we wanted at a point. So we pulled a piece of paper out. We thought, right, we either put it on ice and get rid of everyone now, or we take a risk and build it. That conversation lasted 30 seconds, right, we'll go at a risk. Which one do we do? Should we go out and do research? And I said, no. Flipped a coin. I said, heads for order B.
Flipped a coin.
Heads for order B. It was heads. Off we went. So we built it in maybe 5 months. It possibly the best, the kids are the best 12 months. That's what I said. Possibly the best 6 months because it was just rapid.
Yeah.
There was no time to think about anything. Everyone was in the same boat together.
And everyone wanted it as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Right?
I remember.
Pretty did live. I'm assuming it's pretty easy to get immediately live testing and live fixing, right?
Yeah, it was just there.
Yeah.
And we had to do it.
That's amazing.
It was interesting to see different clients' approaches, I guess, to rolling it out. We had fullers in one hand. We wanted a very small scale test and 2 pubs, roll it out to 10, 20, 30. I think you're right, great, fine, that's fine, we can do it. Lounges, put it live in one site for 2 hours, great, turn it on. Estate-wide, 30 million a month. Done.
Yeah.
Like, the volumes they were putting through would and probably still are.
Yeah.
50% of their transactions will have gone through order book.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
that's the achievement. It's really interesting because as you talk, you're like, yeah, so it was exciting and so on. And in my brain, I'm going, he's created a SaaS app in like 5 months and then rolled it out. That's just like crazy.
And then been acquired.
Yeah,
a year later.
Yeah, that's even crazier.
So Simon, I mentioned already, my co-founder hates what I'm about to say, but he's not here, so he can't stop me. You can't censor it. Timing's everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like we worked hard, we were clever, we were strategic at the right time.
Yeah,
and I think it's such an important fact.
It's interesting you say that. So we had like Jonah from Blend on ages ago. Yeah, he's always talking. He's amazing, and we were talking about fixing a problem. We were fixing a problem.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing now is fixing a problem as well. And I hate the word problem because it's drilled into me that
opportunity.
or an unresolved opportunity, right? But there are problems and problems in fixing, especially in hospitality. So I give you props to that. It was unbelievable to build that and then out, which is even more amazing. So was Access one of that pause? Was that one of the biggest ones to feed in, or was it just?
No, we pricked their attention, I guess, because we did the integration for Alex Young, Revs HQ when Alex was there with Clint, and we integrated into the Access POS in 20 days.
Oh, that's like unheard of.
Start.
That doesn't exist. Like that's unheard of. Unless you kidnapped one of the Access guys in your lower basement. Like you're not.
We had your low basement. Where we are now. We had very little access to access that. Playing through a nobody. We had no one to get in. Alex pushed. I think we got Arc Inspirations.
She's very convincing. To be fair,
she is great. And we had Tim Nocton, not there anymore, but Tim at Arc also pushing. So we want to work with these guys.
Yeah.
Because they could see the work we've done on the zonal side of the fence. So yeah. Niall Wallace, our CTO, built it in 20 odd days. It was hacky, it was messy, it broke in places.
But it worked.
It worked, ultimately. I think that's how we got onto the M&A radar for them.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And this is why I guess my role, sometimes I struggle to rein myself in because I'm a bugger to product teams, I'm a bugger to the tech teams because I understand it. So I can work with no matter what they say to me, like, what if we did it this way? And they'll look at me and say, it'll build in loads of technical debt. I was like, great, thanks.
Yeah.
I
think the interesting thing is as well is that sitting on that, so it's like having Mark McCulloch sitting in an office with the marketing people where they're all saying, yeah, so you can't do that because blah, 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 blah. And if you build a website, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I can build that for you in an hour. Or, no, you can do that. So you're the other way around as well. Sitting on that team, they're going, well, the dev team are going to say it's X and the other team are saying it's Y. And you're going, no, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is possible. It's just, we have to do it another way. So it's lateral it's good thinking. Lateral thinking, I guess.
But it is really tough. And so I'm not saying that I'm right in any of what I've just said, but I've got the commercial head on as well as a client head, and then the technical meets in the middle. So I kind of had to just
bit of a unicorn. That's good for LinkedIn.
Unicorn,
technical unicorn.
Well,
unicorns.
Tripod, no.
No, you don't want tripods. No. No one tripod. Unicorns because they're... Anyway, unicorns.
We'll go for a technical unicorn.
Yeah. I think that might be good. With the little unicorn emoji afterwards. Okay. So I want to dive in more, but I think we're going to run out of time because we're going to move to Sam. So, Sam.
Well, I can do an abridged version.
No.
Well, it'll still take him 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, I've lived out mine on social media for the last 10 years, so people probably know most of my story. And if not, they need to give me a follow, obviously. Getting into hospitality, I found myself working for an early version of Airbnb. So I had poor man's Airbnb 10, 15 years ago in the hills of Lancashire, selling advertising space on a platform called I Know UK, which I'm sure no one listening will have heard of. And that was my entry into sales as a young man, as quite a self-assured, fake tanned, bead wearing, just been travelling 20-something-year-old from Lancashire. And that's where I learned sales and relationship building. I loved it. We had a great team, and it was all youngsters from around the Northwest, and we had a really good time. And that's where I met my wife. So,
Oh no, you met your wife at
this company, I Know UK. She worked in the customer support team. I worked in sales. I actually went and sold my younger brother's eggs to their floor every week just for the excuse to see my wife and try and sell her eggs. And that's how we ended up meeting through that business.
You met through eggs.
We met through eggs and a poor man's version of Airbnb. And then life progressed. There was a Google update one day called the Google Panda update, and I now have a real fear of pandas. It wiped out 75-80% of my web traffic overnight. We came in the next morning, kept refreshing, going, is this broken? And it had just gone. So we were like, okay, and we tried to survive, and it was really tough times. It was my first introduction to having to ride a roller coaster in a business. At that point, I was semi-junior, getting a bit more senior in the company.
Still fake tan.
Oh, still fake tan, still typing t-shirts, some things don't change. And so one of the directors of the business had a friend that had moved to a new tech company in Manchester called Purple Wi-Fi. We, again, did a Hail Mary and said, we've got a great, young, hungry sales team, but the product we have does not currently have the traffic. And we ended up being a white labelled version of Purple Wi-Fi, which nowadays is known as Wireless Social. And that company, we tried to sell to our B&B owners and guest houses and hotel groups and cottages, and they just would not.
Was it called that originally? Or was that the first name of it?
That was literally, I think it was made up in about 10 minutes, the name. And we started trying to sell it to our existing customers for I Know UK, and there was no interest. There was no interest in capturing the contact details in the cottage or the guest house because they already had them, they were booked in. And literally just one thing, this is a very shortened version.
Hold on. Was it Julian, you and other people? Was it the team? Or?
Yeah, well, in the first instance, we split out, had a small team just trying to see if this had legs, whilst the other side of the company tried to save and do CPR on I Know UK and bring it back to life.
So was I Know UK different to? Was it still with Julian, or was that different?
Yeah, so it was all on the same building, all on the same floor. We just had two, a bit like Airship and Top.
Okay, so you're still working. So that was his previous company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Julian was at I Know UK, and then through him, Wireless Social was born, and then the team slowly migrated over bit by bit until I Know UK was eventually sold off to another company called Snaptrip, where the value that was left in the business, and then everyone became full Wireless Social. And there was a moment where we realised that the only people that were really biting were our hotel customers that had restaurants in the venues, and they're like, okay, well, non-residents and bringing people back in to dine.
Capturing that data, right?
Capturing that data. And then we just so happened that we managed to get lucky or work very hard, and we managed to bring on board, I think the first three big well-known names were TGI Fridays, Carluccio's and Faux. They took a risk in Wireless Social, and then we went on that journey that we went on, which was a roller coaster.
So then what was your first role at Wireless?
Well, I think by the time we started Wireless Social, I was sales director at I Know UK, then moved across, so I just ran the sales team there, and then we went on this mad journey of rolling out.
To be fair, there was nothing really anything at that point.
No,
there was others, but they were pretty shit. I mean, Purple were very enterprisey. Yeah, and didn't want to speak to anyone anyway. Right?
No,
and then you had that. I think you had the open market. It was. I mean, it must have been awesome.
Well, as I say to Nick all the time, my mindset for any business that I work in is we have no competitors. 0 to 1. I'm always convinced we're the one, even if I'm having to lie to myself, because it makes my life easier. And so that was my first taste of hospitality. And the really weird thing that happened was, and the reason I think I fell in love with it, is as we were going to all these networking events and conferences and client meetings and going to partner meetings, it was all like any other sector I've worked in. So I've worked in all manner of different, accountancy, recruitment firms, and paid media within football stadiums, and selling exhibition space at public sector events and all sorts of different things. And this one was unlike anything I'd seen before. So when you grow up and you do like formal sales training or marketing training, it's all to act a certain way that's different to you are, this polished, refined, prepared, rehearsed version, and that you have an understanding that the people you're selling to, they're all in silos, they don't speak to each other, they're not comparing notes, they're not obviously not supporting each other because they're competitors. So whatever you're doing here we'll never get back to here. So every relationship's an isolated case. And within a couple of months, we realised that, hold on, this community that is hospitality rewards you for being yourself. They're attracted to people that are comfortable in their own skin and being genuine. They all speak and all collaborate and they all lift each other up. Dickheads don't last very long in hospitality. They get pushed out by the herd, as you said. It's incestuous. Everyone stays. Everyone cycles up if they're good. Everyone brings their friends with them. And by friends, I mean people they can trust to deliver on what they said they're going to do and help them achieve mutual goals. And it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And no longer did I have to have this almost semi-version of yourself that you're being when you're trying to sell products or service to someone. You're like, just be yourself. And if you're a good person, hospitality accepts you, and then you suddenly find that you can really enjoy what you're doing. And so that was my first bite of hospitality, and fell in love with the sector.
Did you, so before that, had you worked at all in hospitality?
I'd worked in a pub for many years. In fact, I walked into my local pub, the Sir Tom Finney in Penwitham, when I was 16, I think. And I just said, have you got any jobs? And Bev, who won't thank me for this, that's now, I think Bev and Gary run Amber Taverns. They've gone to great things. I think Bev stuck her head out of the kitchen and said, you've worked behind the bar before. I was like, yeah, no. And said, are you old enough? I think. And I said, yeah. And honestly, the whole thing just ended up with me being behind the bar, getting trained. Someone ordered draft Coke, and I went to the fridge looking for it. I was like, we haven't got any draft Coke. And someone, I said, like, what wines have you got? And I went and looked, like, red eye. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was the worst barman to begin with, but stayed there for 3 or 4 years, and I loved it. I love working in a pub. I'm convinced I was the best barman that's ever existed. I had the greatest time working the Sir Tom Finney.
There's no competition for those. So.
No.
So an interesting point, actually. I say this to a few different people. Do you think that working there changed your aspect of how you communicate with people?
100%. I think anyone should work in retail or hospitality. It should almost like be a thing that you have to do as a rite of passage.
So you say that. When I had Mark on, Mark McCulloch, he was like, I think there should be a government, either the national service where you work in hospitality. And I told a colleague of mine the other day, he's like, I would go hospitality any day. I'm not going to go national service, but I would. He said that would be, and I think it would change everyone.
Yeah. You meet a true. It's a few opportunities that you get to meet a true cross section of people within a certain degree, depending on what brand you're in. Like going to an NCT class with me and my wife, like, oh, this is a true cross section of. Because you usually just mix with people that are, you don't realise how small the bubble is you normally go in.
Yeah.
And you go to a pub in a council estate in the middle of Preston, and you're like, okay, I better learn how to speak to a lot of different people and how to communicate and get a message across. And I loved it. So everyone should work behind the bar. It's a great place to learn how to exist alongside lots of different people. And so that was it. That was my journey into hospitality. Fell in love with the sector. And then in terms of the pivotal moment in my career that I think was the big changing moment that brought me to where we are now is the pandemic again hit. And that was my kind of something in my head went, okay, it's time to move on.
So before that, actually, where were you with? Your journey. How long were you at Wireless?
So the
whole thing.
Oh, crikey, over a decade.
Okay.
In its previous format and its new one, over a decade.
And so same role through?
No, started off as a junior sales exec that sat on a chest of drawers with wheels on with my laptop on in the corner many years ago, and then went through all sorts of different roles. Ended up as sales director across I Know UK and Wireless Social. But yeah, took lots of different things. I had no sales training at all.
You like learning on the job.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yep.
Question though. So so obviously the expansion was mental, right?
Yeah.
Integration. They were building crazy, and like, you had like a 200 something integration. It was mental. When it got to COVID, because we talked about it with you, how was that? Because obviously everyone, it's present people that are there capturing the data.
Yeah. So, well, we did some really useful stuff about footfall tracking and reporting it to news channels, but as you imagine, it went off a cliff edge. And I think there's no judgment from me about how any companies tackle COVID, because looking back, you see loads of people that carved out a successful route through it or didn't. And like a lot of companies, we froze in terms of, we had daily meetings, we were trying our best to support our customers, and we were talking about what can we do? What can we do to add value that keeps us alive, that supports our team, that supports our customers? But there weren't many great ideas coming out, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of businesses. And apart from you flipping coins in Yorkshire somewhere, and Dan Brookman kept ringing, who was a good friend at that point over at Airship, and was asking these questions, saying, what's your comm strategy for your customers? What's your bad debt forecasting? What are you doing in terms of this, and this happens? What are you doing with your team? And I was like, oh my God, you're flying. I was like, he was just moving at this rate of knots. We hadn't even got an email out, and I think most people hadn't even got an email out to the customer saying what the position was. And Dan was doing 2 emails a day, one a bit of the video content online about what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he's sleeping in the office in a sleeping bag. And it was just so attractive to me, and something in my brain was like, and it's time to go. We've achieved a load here. The company's in great health. I've loved it. But whatever that is, the world's falling apart around me. You can work remotely. It's in Sheffield, other side of the Pennines for me. And I think I drank about 1.5 bottles of red wine one night at my kitchen table, FaceTimed Dan and just said, do you want to pay me a lot of money to come and do this together? Because what you're doing just looks so attractive. And I mean, every credit to him. Same situation as everyone else. They were in the middle of the pandemic. All the customers cancelling the direct debit. Team was furloughed. And he invested in a new chief commercial officer, which is a wild thing to do. And I'm sure 9 out of 10 times that wouldn't have paid off. But that was the pivotal moment for me, was moving over to Airship, joining Dan, and just kind of learning this new way you can run a business. And almost watching him in disbelief going, but this isn't how you do this. Like, you can't enjoy it this much. And
he's definitely, he runs like hot all the time. And I said, I even had Reese something a while ago. And I was like, how do you deal with his crazy brain?
Yeah.
Which is sort of what you need sometimes in a business. I mean, his story is, I'll put a link to his podcast.
Yeah.
His story is freaking awesome.
Oh, there's so many great stories.
I mean, some of the stuff he goes through, which has obviously helped him throughout the years. And obviously, when you met, were they regenerating Toggle?
No, so when Dan first told me Toggle, we sat in the cafe. I had this little, in my memory, it was a little file of fax thing that was like laminated sleep. I'm sure it wasn't. And he's like, look, I was at Wireless.
Sounds about right.
And he's like, I was at Wireless Social. Went, we're building this thing called Toggle, and it's gift cards. And I remember clearly saying, that's dog shit. I was like, that's going nowhere. No one cares about gift cards.
Which is interesting, because when you told me we were going to do something in recruitment, I just said no.
Oh, you straight away you said no. And I was like, no one cares about gift cards. This is boring. And it turned out to be one of the biggest growths in the sector, and something that I ended up believing in wholeheartedly, because...
And you went all in, though. You went all in.
It was phenomenal. Like, when I saw behind this, like, people are just printing money here, and especially when in the pandemic, it was a way for them to bring in revenue, support the team, keep the business alive at a time where there was no other options. I was like, oh my God, this is a godsend for the sector. I mean, that story was very well published, but moving over to Airship, I think my first call with Dan and Oscar, the COO, was on a Friday, and my son was in the back crying, about 2 years old, and they're like, okay, Boris Johnson has just said that companies need to do track and trace. Sam, you join on Monday. We can build it over the weekend. You're going to be selling it on day one. Can we do this? And we went, let's do it. And so over the weekend, one of our developers, Alison, built it in Liverpool. Put a front end on the CRM, the Airship platform. On Monday, I started. Dan was like, we'll do induction later. Costa Coffee are on the phone. They want to buy track and trace. And I was like, oh my God, let's go. And then it was Pret, and then Road Chef, and then Cafe Nero, and Greg's, and Subway, and then it just went crazy. And that was it, just watching us as a team rewrite a new plan every 6 hours, launch it or scrap it. And we created this concept called the Wall of Noise, which was just be everywhere on all socials, spreading whatever we think the most valuable message we can give to the sports sector is, and just keep helping. And his mentality was, which is the pivotal moment for me, was be yourself all times, be 100% honest and transparent. Don't hide any part of what's happening in the company from your customers or your staff. He would fight, if staff were getting a hard time with customers, and the customer's always right, he'd take the phone and tell them where to go and say, you can't speak to my team like this, you can have your money back if you want it. And it was so backwards to everything I'd learned. Protect your team aggressively, listen to your customers, bring them on the journey with you, invite them in to have sessions and say, what's driving you mad, what's shit? Say out loud in front of each other, let's wash it around the room, let's fix it, let's improve it, let's give it back to you. And it wasn't always perfect, and we were jumping and building wings on the way down every week, but it was the most fun, and it changed my my perception of how you build a team, how you treat them, how you include your customers, how you build SaaS solutions for customers, and the fact that you shouldn't go home from work feeling like shit. It was this moment where he was obsessed with the idea that the team work should be a positive influence alongside their lives, and it was like, okay, this changes everything. And that was such a fun 4 years.
I think I remember both of them talking about the little team meeting where someone leads that meeting, and everyone joins, everyone talks, and then there's like quizzes.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like really nice to think about. Like when I used to work for another company, that changed my aspect on like he was a Kiwi.
Oh yeah.
And so I walked into this bit. It was like they were doing the software development company, and I walked in. I was doing it at tech. I walked in, and the CEO was like, "Come into my office," and I was like, "Where's your door?" And he goes, "We don't have a door. It's open." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
He goes, "Come in whenever you like." I was like, "Do you mean whenever I like?" He goes, "Yeah, open door means there's no door."
Yeah.
Right. And I think what one British guy, me and another British guy, everyone else was from like Ireland or Australia, whatever. They would Friday. They would do snacks. So they would do like wine, chips, and whatever. We try. I've tried to bring that here with the wine chips, but my boys are gamers. They just make donuts and donuts and Pringles.
Yeah.
But the open door thing, and that really changed my aspect, similar to what you had in how you work with your team, how you be part of the team. I speak to other people and they're like, well, if you're the boss, you should be sitting in your office.
So yeah, no.
And that whole concept of business is so old school.
Yeah.
There's still people that do it, but I think the way what you've learned, especially what you've learned from moving from wireless to airship, I think it's really good ground.
Yeah, it was a very good trajectory, and it brought me into Nick's hemisphere because Nick and Dan had a relationship. We met at Dan's 50th party for the first time, had a good chat, and then and then we'll come on to this now, but when it was time to move on from airship after we'd been acquired by Zonal, who were lovely with us, and it was just the time was right for me at the start of last year to say, okay, well, I get quite a strong urge in my head of like, okay, it's time to do something new now. That was amazing.
How long were you in airship? I didn't remember now.
3.5 years.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. Right?
It was fun. Well,
3.5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We like to move fast. I mean, both of us have that thankfully, which is burn fast, burn bright. You keep going, and as soon as something doesn't give you that same level of fulfillment or joy anymore, then it's time to, all right, what's next? What can I do? What can I set a good example for my family with? And that's when I reached out to you and said, what do you do?
That you need to actually frame that WhatsApp message.
Yeah.
That should be a really good one. But okay, so the WhatsApp message hit, and I remember the post-it notes. That's my first memory.
Okay.
On a wall, which was something that's come in, and everyone went absolutely mental. And the testament to you, both of you, to be fair, that everyone went absolutely crazy. I think there was a whirlwind of like, what is everyone doing? What's going on? Who's doing it? And everyone's like, what's being built? What's going to happen?
Yeah, it was on that weekend, wasn't it?
It was great, yeah. And the bit I liked around that time as well, you started to do. So we went away to, where did we go? Keighley,
somewhere in the Yorkshire Hills.
Somewhere in the Yorkshire Hills. Airbnb, 2 days. Never spent more than 4 hours in each other's company.
Yeah.
Couldn't really tell how tall he was.
Yeah.
Or how tanned. But we'll come on to it later. So we rock up. I've got a box of stuff, post-it notes, a screen, a power adapter, loads of food from Mark Spencer.
So much potted beef.
Yeah, it's great.
No, it's not for me.
He thinks I'm posh because I like potted beef.
It's like little grapevine tomato things. It's so posh. I'd like Doritos, reheated Greggs, and a Diet Coke crate.
So Christmas prize is from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't go to him.
Yeah.
He uses ChatGPT quite a lot. I'll throw it in there. And last week he was just showing his screen. I could see that it's used it to ask a question. I said, "What's that last chat you got there?" Because all I could see was like it was truncated. He said, "How long should I microwave a medium jacket potato for?"
That's what Sam.
This is like £1 billion technology that he's using to work out how long to cook a jacket potato.
I think probably the worst thing is probably using the same conversation asking for Candid, and then it's got to pop out with jacket potato information about Candid. So conversation.
We'll post anything on LinkedIn. So yeah, a couple of days in B&B, trying to work out from Sam's initial idea of what this platform could do, which he told me on the phone, and I said no. And then I've reflected on it a little bit and kind of messaged you and said, put it into one page. Try really, really hard to get it into one sheet of A4. Because if it's any more, we just need to start stripping it out. So put it into one page. I'll do it tonight. So the next morning, I went to my emails. They sent me 6 pages. And I was really tempted to be a dick and go back to him and say, put it into one. Yeah. But I didn't. I commented through it and we kind of started to pull stuff out. And we had a few chats.
Yeah. Like you sat in some weird cafe somewhere in Hull or Yorkshire or something, yeah.
Or at home with screaming children.
Yeah.
My wife's telling me to get back to work.
Yeah.
He's saying, do I do something? Do I?
Yeah.
So I did. So I went to Yorkshire. We just mapped out what the product could look like.
So was it always the beginnings of what it sort of is? Not what it can do or the power of it, but was that like the journey you were going down?
It definitely resembles it. I mean, thank God for Nick. So I was last Feb driving to Wales for a week in a cottage with the family. My wife's driving. I'm daydreaming. She's like, "Are you okay? Are you in the room?" And I was like, "I've had an idea. I think I'm going to quit my job when we get back from this." And she's like, "But you love your job." I was like, "I'm going to do it." And then on the Monday, I went to Sheffield and saw Dan and let him know what I was going to do. And the idea, it wasn't called Candid. The name had to be changed. That was one of your stipulations to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had this idea for a company, and it was to do with matchmaking people anonymously, but it had so much just unnecessary stuff in it. It wasn't the current format. It was something slightly removed. There was also an idea of some manual involvement of recruiting, like a traditional recruitment agency, and doing some actual hands-on recruiting. There was a training arm to it. It was nowhere near as finessed or refined as it is now. And that's what I sent to Nick, and he came back like, "Cut this out. That's weird. Maybe do that separately. Okay, there's something here." And then when Nick came back and he said, "Okay, so the really interesting thing here is the removal of bias and subconscious bias. You don't know how old someone is, or their gender, or their ethnicity, or their appearance." And like, these things hadn't been formulated in my head at all. And all these little notes were like, "Oh my God, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea." And the process in Ilkley or Keighley or wherever we were. And then since then, I think our brains work very well together. And it's just been finessed and refined and finessed and refined. The name has, of course, changed, apart from my company credit card where it still says the old name.
Oh, sorry, can you share?
Yes. The original name, which my wife loves you for changing,
Good.
was Saucy People.
So Sam.
Which sounds...
Very Sam.
It sounds like
Very
an adult matching website with a different purpose.
Yeah.
But I thought saucy as in like sourcing candidates, source, hospitality, all these great... but and then you just text...
So you could have had like a Tenzo with a little Sprite, a little hot sauce.
I was so excited. I even made a logo. And then I remember one night I was stood in my kitchen and you just text saying, "What about Candid?" And I said it to my wife and she's like, "He's nailed it. Like, got it. There you go." Because I was sending you loads of random things trying to get you bought in, and you just said, "What about Candid?" And I was like, "Yeah, done."
And I don't know.
So it's interesting actually. So I speak to a lot of people, and so like Sentiment Search, great platform. He's a developer. He's got a CTO. So 50s are awesome. Have ideas everywhere, and we'll build. And then he's like, then I've got my CTO, which is sort of what you are really, within the co-founder. But I mean that role.
The more technical.
The more technical.
So he's like, I want to build everything. I want to build everything with everything. And then he goes, my CTO says to me, no. We're going to just do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, which is really that sort of like, the sounds brain's going, and you're going, yeah, we can do that, and let's do that.
It works really, really, really well. Like, you've got boundless energy on boundless ideas. Most of them are all right. I think it's fair to say that's a positive
We
thing.
called about 1,000 last week in Caravan, didn't we? Of going back to the last 6 months of just my brain farts.
Okay, fine. Some of them are really shit.
Yes. So bad.
Some of them don't make any sense, but there's enough there to be able to think, well, actually, if I take 25% of that, 25% of this, and then put my own 15 to there, it'll work, it'll fly, it'll be fine, or whatever it'll be.
Yeah. But that's it was a wonderful 40 hours in Keighley, doing an honesty box, doing a "This Is Your Life" presentation to each other. The
So
idea,
did you do did you each do like a pitch, like a sell me the pen?
it was for not. You mean your wife Courtney was involved in it a lot and did an honesty box where we didn't know the questions. The idea really there because I think we were bought in that the idea could be refined and it was important to the post-it notes, but it was more to see if we could spend 48 hours with each other and not kill each other or not leave thinking, "God, he's a dickhole," whatever. And the fact that we just went from nothing to 48 hours. Pretty intense, like long days at every curry house in that small village, as in got delivery in.
Yep.
I actually ordered the spiciest thing on the menu and tried to hide that as an internal
To
pain.
show off.
Yeah.
Classic Sam Brown.
But that was I'd recommend anyone that's about to start a business, go and lock yourself in an Airbnb for 48 hours and just have really long, intense chats, get really tired and see if you try and kill each other. And if you do, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
And then that's...
Just a question for you. If you were younger, so look at what Pepe
But we're not that old.
okay, so if you were like,
You're a year older than me.
it's your birthday.
My birthday
Oh,
yesterday.
yes, congratulations.
I was 39 yesterday. Sam turned 39 in 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days.
Well, that's another link as well.
We're 3 days apart in being born.
Okay, so if it was a different time, do you think you would, and you had both ideas, do you think you potentially would have done like the founder style, like what Glenn did with I forget the company with Anna, going into the cohorts, finding that and going in. Is that something you would it's just an interesting conversation?
I'm not sure it's for me personally. I'm not sure I'm the right kind of person for that, because if you ask me to go and speak to somebody or sit and get on with something, I'm more likely to sit and get on with something. But that's where he comes in. Yeah, that's why our relationship actually works really, really well, because I literally at any point into him, there you go, they just spoken about hiring someone, go speak to them. I don't have to think about it. My old job at Audible was sales, customer success, products, like it was everything. So I had to pick and choose what I did, otherwise it didn't get done. A lot of the time it would be picking up the phone and outreach, whereas I don't need to do that. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know, would have been for me. The premise of it, I love. I think it's really, really like Jonah and Julia.
Yeah, I think it's Jules.
Yeah, there you go. Very good. I did both. Jonah and Jules didn't know each other either. Like, I didn't know that. You wouldn't be able to tell that, because they just sat there talking about their baby of the business. Yeah. That's growing like exponentially, and you're doing like the smashing it. But I think it's a really good concept. But I think you'd thrive in it more than I would.
I think another thing as well, I haven't looked at you've got a new website coming soon, I think you said, or is it out now?
Oh yeah, so we launched a new website a couple of weeks ago, quietly, and then it just keeps getting we just literally iterate on it almost every day basis.
So I will say one thing, I'd love to have that founder story, but like in video.
Oh yeah,
in there, and one of my colleagues, Scott of Modern Hospitality, he's just done a top jar style interview with each of the team.
Ah, nice. Okay,
and I think that's an interesting piece, because it gets people. But I'd love to. I don't know if you put the origin.
No. We should. That's a good idea.
That is something that's super interesting, and I'd love you to go and do, just because big. You can take some of my video, but I mean, you do your own stuff, because I think that is the storytelling piece that we talked about earlier. It's super important. Well, people who don't know the brand. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, listen. I mean, you're posting the whole time. People are seeing it. It's like a freaking. It's like wildfire, right?
It's a wall of noise.
A wall of noise.
It's a wall of noise.
Yes. So I think the storytelling is really important for the website. Okay. Sorry, I just muted myself. Okay. So in here, I've written, because ChatGPT does a great deep dive.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it said here that the platform focuses on the 3 C's: culture, competencies, and compensation. Could you elaborate on how those elements are integrated in your matchmaking process, or do you want to go back to the beginnings? Because you started explaining how it is.
Yeah.
How did those 3 C's come out?
Well, I'll explain a little about the platform and kind of what the actual concept is. So
yeah, do that first,
and then how the 3 C's fit in. So. The idea for Candid Hospitality is it's an anonymous matchmaker for hospitality careers. And the idea came out of just little bits of WhatsApp groups and networking, where I'd have friends in my network coming to me and saying, looking to move roles, I wouldn't like my current boss to find out. I'd also like a chance to go into a culture that's suitable for me, and quite a few people. And I'd put out these messages to WhatsApp groups or social media groups or a networking event saying, I have a friend, they have this type of personality, they have this sort of skill set, looking for this sort of package. Would I like to speak to them? And I go back to the
basically, you're like, I've got someone that's perfect for you. I don't want to introduce you.
Well, I put it into a massive open group. So I put it into like a group of 500 people, and then 4 or 5 would come back to it. Oh, we're looking for someone like that. And I go back to the candidate, and so Jamie Keeble, who was at Tonkotsu, was one of the first, and said, okay, well, one of them is this group, which starts my ex-employer, and say, oh, well, one of them is another group, and I go, but I know the culture that I don't think it's a fit for you, and the other 3 are X, Y, and Tonkotsu, and I'd introduce them, they'd chat, and then she went out to be the head of brand there, and still is, and that just happened over and over and over again. And as I was driving to Wales that time and thought, I need to do something new, I've got an opportunity, I was like, what gives me joy? And I was like, I love hospitality. I'm not particularly tech orientated. I don't get excited about tech and a new API or hardware, but I love the people. And I was like, that gave me joy doing that matchmaking. Could this be a platform, which is where the idea came from? So Nick thankfully rescued from this half-focused idea that did 30 things and went, what about this? And so the idea of Candid Hospitality is it's a anonymous marketplace where anyone that has a professional role in hospitality, and that can be for an operator or a supplier, and we're focused mostly on salaried roles, so we've got a lot of GMs, lots of chefs, all head office roles, and anyone that works for a supplier.
And a production cheesemonger.
We have got a production cheesemonger.
Don't forget production cheesemonger.
And it goes all. We've got 20 plus MDs signed up. It's a bit wild in terms of how senior skewed the roles seem to be. So people are signing up anonymously, and the idea is they build a profile, and we'll talk about the 3 C's, and it allows them to be matched with our algorithm that we've built with employers that...
Has the algorithm got a name?
Oh my God, no. Although ChatGTP did...
I'm sorry, it's ChatGPT.
What? What is it? ChatGTP?
No, other way around.
Nah, he's talking nonsense. In the north, it's ChatGTP.
Totally fine.
So Chat Baked Potato said to me, like, do you want me to have a name the other day? I was like, do you want a name? What's going on? And it was, it suggested some form. It said, you can call me Candy. I was like, this is creepy. So maybe we could call it that.
Let's have it as one of our questions for next guest.
Yeah, okay, great. What should we call our... Yeah, okay. And so the algorithm matches candidates with companies based on the 3 C's that we'll talk about, and then it allows them to have an anonymous conversation in the room. And the idea is that the platform, the headline benefits are, it takes away all subconscious bias. You don't know of anyone's gender, age, ethnicity, appearance, anything along those lines. It takes out all risk of the candidate because it's not known that they're looking or keeping one eye open. It gives employers access to passive candidates. So over 40% of our customer base, which is 1,000 plus candidates now, are passive. So they're not actively looking, but they don't mind having one eye open to be nudged. So you get access to this pool of otherwise unaccessible candidates without paying headhunter fees.
Yeah, it's really clever. Also people who it might spike their interest.
Oh yeah,
because otherwise, if you're not looking,
Yeah, 100%.
What we asked when we did 100 candidate interviews plus, and we asked them all, how are you? Do you feel in your current job? Unhappy, indifferent, very happy, etc. And over 3/4 who said, I'm very happy in my current job, already have a completed candidate account. And we were like, okay. So a lot of people come up at events and go, why I'm signed up. I'm like, but you like your job, like, why wouldn't I have an eye open for a perfect role? And the idea is, the end goal, and maybe it's a delusion of grandeur that we can achieve this, but we've priced it, we've built it in a way that every single professional that works in hospitality within the next couple of years should have an account. Like, why wouldn't they? I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want a free account with zero risk that gives you a psychometric report and benchmarks you against everyone else. And hopefully every single employer will have it, because it will be the place you can go to access the entire marketplace and find the right.
and you don't
person.
get done. You don't get. You get shy. There's lots of really tough recruiters out there that are throwing people in your way.
Yeah, and there's some great. There are some great ones.
It's literally like the recruiter will preempt everything. And they come all ready to go, know exactly what to say.
Yep.
And then they start the role, and they're just not the right person.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the idea here is that if you do get access to the entire marketplace and there's no human intervention, you'll just find the right person for the role based on the algorithm, and you'll get the 5 best candidates through, and then you have a really informal, anonymous chat, and you bring someone through for interview. So that's the nature of the platform that we've built, which is it should be a beautiful thing.
It will be.
And then the 3 C's.
Yeah,
Sorry, 1 second. It's going to change the fucking world, is the idea, and we're going to roll that across every sector, and it's going to be bigger than Amazon.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Great. That's for vision, right?
But on the 3 C's, which is integral, I mean, do you want to cover how the 3 C's fit into this?
Yeah, I'm a real pedant for detail, and if we're going to be called Candid, everything has to have a C.
Yeah, it's good.
As much as possible. Culture was in there to start with. How you do what you do, we weren't sure about, so that became competencies, but I couldn't say it.
Yeah,
So
I struggle.
I think in Keithley or Ilke, whoever it was, we spent 20 minutes just saying it, and then every now and again, someone would say, say it! And then competencies.
Yeah,
It's just done now, it's part of parlance, it's just there, competencies, say I can do it.
Yeah.
About it.
Wow, I'm proud of you.
If I hear you say it, then it's easy to read.
Yeah,
Croissant.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Croissant.
yeah, I can't say that. We're very good.
French. And compensation, because it also was a see how much money you want to get back for doing the job that you've been asked to do. They just became the 3 things that we thought were important when actually going for a job. Not a CV, not how long you've worked at a place. With the whole concept of the platform, when you sign up, we ask you, what's your current role? Where do you work? Have you been doing it for more than 2 years or less? And if I say you've been doing it for more than 2 years, that's it. That's your job history complete. Because we're just going to assume, or 2 things actually, we're just going to assume that you can do your job. Because you've been doing it for more than 2 years at the level you're telling us you're doing it at. We can't prove that anyone's doing these jobs, right? There's a little bit of, I'm going to dress myself up a bit because why wouldn't I? You don't go out on first dates and say you're a dickhead. Like you just do, sorry. I assume some people do. I've never done it, but you don't, right? You dress yourself up. It's the same when you're looking for a job. So we don't care about previous work history too much. We've generated using chat.
The jacket potato.
We generated using Chat GPT. I'm not even trying to find it right now.
GPT? GTP?
No.
That one sounds worse. They should have called it ChatGTP.
We'll send them a note.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Using ChatGPT, we've generated 18,000 competencies against 250 roles against 20 departments.
Something like
And
that.
we've done that. It's grunt work, but it's been amazingly fun work. So yeah, I had.
Do you think the AI piece is because I mean we're plugging some ChatGPT into what we're doing Captive at the moment with rather than having a machine learning developer to spend 20 grand. So has that been a nice pivotal piece to plug in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's changed the way we've started the business.
Well, timing is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would have been a
I
very...
mean, seriously, if it was 2.5 years ago, you'd be in a different conversation.
We wouldn't have been able to move a fraction of the speed we've done.
No.
It's allowed us to, every day we're in a completely different place at the end of the day when we started the day, and we do lean on that platform.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Absolutely. Like the rate at which we're moving, we're in. It's going to change. I'm not sure if you've realised it's going to change, but it is. We're in the lower end of a bell curve. The other side, we've had no clients paying us money or even talking to us. We've got loads signed up, but they know it's coming. No candidates really needing to do anything. Just you and I, no employees, no office, no dogs, no plans to order, nothing. Yeah. We'll be able to do whatever we want to do, as and when we want to do it, at the pace which suits us both. I
think that's a really interesting point as well, because it's giving you that opportunity, not like where you would ought to be because you needed to get it out and get it running. You've now had the pleasure of doing it slowly, building that client, getting people to sign up, getting information, getting customers to sign up, and not necessarily, and then you're going to end up having like thousands of data points from companies, and then when you're ready and the switch on, I mean, that's just crazy. That's like an unheard of story that not people were doing. You can now go online, right, and there are lots of like no code AI tools. You can ask it to build you an app, but this is different because you're using the brains of both of you, and I think this is freaking awesome. By the way, I love the approach you've taken to it, and it is so interesting to listen to that process, and it also gives other people who want to build stuff, and they have the opportunity to do it in that method.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I take my metaphorical hat off to anyone that's brave enough to start a business, because it's shit, right? Like it's not easy. Sorry, it's not shit. It's tough, but tough things are worth working for. And it keeps you going, it gets you out of bed in the morning, and keeps you out of bed at night. But you have to want to do it, which is a real big leap to do it. So I said to you, I was like, I think I want to do it again, but I need to build up to it. Yeah. So on week 2, I was working 5 days a week.
But when you're working 5 days a week, or where you just doing?
We're quite good at that. We are quite good at that.
We are.
Yeah.
We're very, to say we don't know each other that well. Sorry, we do now because we speak all the time.
Yeah.
And we're changing the world together.
Absolutely.
We're very well aligned. I think, no respect to Julian whatsoever, I don't know him that well, but I know Dan really well. I think it's partly because of how Dan runs his business. Yeah. So therefore you're ingrained in that. We're very similar. On day 2, I think we were writing company values. So we weren't even really looking at the product. The product didn't matter, but what kind of company do we want? And don't ask me to tell you what we are, because I've got no idea now. But what kind of company do we actually want?
Yeah.
And actually, I probably could if I really thought about it, because they were used the word candid, so they were considerate, adventurous.
Attractive.
Is it attractive? Yeah, probably attractive.
Oh yeah, baby.
N was nice.
Yeah.
Which would have been nice business for you.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, D was desirable, I think.
D was desirable. I was innovative.
Yeah.
And the other D was diverse.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think we've rewritten them since then.
We have, but I think it's important. That's what we did first.
Was it? Yeah.
Not about what it was going to do, but what we were going to do.
So I'm going to ask a question actually, and the quick question I'm going to ask. There are, and also two things really. One, I've seen loads of high CEO. You probably said you said lots of CEOs. Loads of CEO roles out there at the moment. It's crazy. Or lots of FD and CEO roles. Because these companies have realised I don't need them anymore because we've got a team. So I think this could be really interesting on that side. The other side is we had a client literally around the corner, and he's like, I've just put a new job out for GM. So I went out to all the freaking places, and I had 300 people want to come. And first interview stage, instead of the 300 that all said they were going to come, it was 20. So 20. So I was like, okay, so I put my whole day out.
Yeah.
So the 20K and so on, and they sat down. Out of that, maybe 2 were pretty good. It was like great. Gave the one person the role. The other person didn't give the role, and the day came on to turn up, and the guy didn't turn up.
Yeah.
And they were like, so this is the challenge, right? So and I think technology that you're building can also probably help with this too. So, and I think the benefit with that, what you're doing compared to the open side, is you're actually having someone who is choosing that because they want to. There's no stress about it. But are you going to potentially look at putting systems in place to prevent people from, that? Because it's difficult, right? Some people are like, I know that everyone has opportunity to change their mind. I get it. But is there like a mediator that will, like, Candid mediator in there to
maybe not as a mediator, but we've struggled in terms of prioritising what we do, because we want to look after the candidates as much as we possibly can. That's why we're building it. But the operators and suppliers are paying our SaaS fees, so we have to make sure it fits both ways. And there's often, I guess, a toss-up between, do we know them or do we know them?
So there's a nice way of doing it, rather than where at the moment it's just the operator, get the recruiter, and having loggerheads. You guys are all about building the relationships. So I think it's a nicer, easy way of dealing with it.
Absolutely, we've got a wish list feature in the platform, so I can say, tell me about jobs with Assume. I'm happy where I'm working now. Where Assume job came up in marketing, I'm all over it. Tell me. I also don't want to work for X, Y, and Z. We built that. I think it was someone from the Candid Council. This is our little WhatsApp group we've got, where people have been honest enough to say, right, I'm happy to help you build this. Yeah. It's 20 odd people, 22 people for various companies. Can't say who they are. For various companies that are happy to be honest about it and not clandestine. They're saying, right, I'm going to be on this platform. I'd like to help shape it, and it is great. They said, well, what about the companies? Can the companies block people that they don't want to see, or maybe have messed them around? And I thought, yeah, they should be able to do that. And then that's what we're doing. So yeah, then ghosting in interviews seems to be a big thing right now. So we're hoping that we'll be able to limit that. Where the bottom end, where our funnel is inverse. So your example there, 300 applicants. I don't think we'll ever have 300 matches on our platform, no matter how big we get.
I think that's a testament to what you're building compared to the traditional recruiter that's going to throw as much as they can to it to get that money. It's a completely other thought process of it.
It will be the complete opposite, that candidates have to exceed a certain percentage of the 3 C's that the company's looking for, or the job's invisible. They don't even know it's on the platform, so you can't apply for it. So if you get through to the room, you have to be at least considerable for the role. So someone described it as the red wine jus and the Candid Hospitality. I'm thinking that's beautiful. So you're only getting this really refined amount, where for some roles you might not get a candidate for a couple of days, but it's because you have to wait for the right one. Do you need to get
like 10 minutes?
Okay,
I'll walk quickly.
Yeah, okay, great. I can stay after you've got this fine and just say horrible things about it.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so and then are you going to do stuff like little video stuff as well?
Yeah.
Like their little profile?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say one thing that came from it and everything you said, and one thing that has been a beautiful thing for me to be part of is we're quite open about admitting that we don't have all the answers, that we're new to recruitment, we're new to this space of matching candidates companies. And because of our background, our successes in the previous businesses, we just went to our network and we spent 5 months before we even launched in October just conducting interviews with 62 operators. Like, Big Table Group gave us access to their entire people team.
Just for 2 hours.
So we had Phil, Dawn, Leanne, and they were incredible. Like, they just, we were like, look, we are complete novices. We're good at building tech. We're good at improving tech, and we're good at looking after a community, and we're good at delivering what we say. But you might as well treat us as people that are juniors. Like, we think we're doing this, this, and this. And the amount of things that they ripped out, they know that these 62 interviews, every time we finish one, we were knackered. We're like, okay, it's changed. Sam Beach from New World Training Company came over to Manchester and sat in Albert Schloss's for 3.5 hours. Yeah. Never met him before. Didn't even know. I just sent him a LinkedIn message. We're in Manchester. I've just seen what you do. I'd love to pick your brains. And he came and sat with us.
I think that's, but hold on, it's different how you approach people. Because if anyone else, like a recruiter would have gone, can I meet you? I need to meet you and talk about stuff. Yeah, your background and your brain works differently than other people. Yeah. So you're very much like exactly what you just said. anyone's going to jump at that because it's a nice, warm conversation.
Well, he's just one of life's good people.
Yeah, he's great.
And when he finished, he's like, "You focus on the wrong thing. It needs to be this, this, and this. And the problems you're fixing are being swapped with unqualified candidates. And there's the bias, and it's the fear of discovery, and it's the cost, and it's the." I'm like, "Okay, shit, let's go and do it and bring it back to him." And then we take it back to, Peter Pilgrims were kind enough to give us all this time, and all he was to give us so much great feedback. And the list is just do. We went away and came back to them and said, "Here's the 15 things we're thinking of having. Can you mark the ones you think are very valuable?" And that gave us this league table and went, passive candidates. Thought, what the fuck's a passive candidate? And it turns out we've now got the UK's largest pool of passive candidates.
Just sat there waiting.
And we never even knew it was a thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's the second most important thing you've got in your platform. We go, right, let's do it again.
It's the same with blind hiring. So we that's what we are. We're a blind hiring app. But for the first couple of weeks, I kept saying, Sam, there must be a name for this. Like, there must be a name for it. I started Googling random stuff, and I eventually find it by saying, whatever I put into Google, I was like, right, with blind hiring, Sam, that's what we're doing. Google blind hiring research papers, tons of those. Like, okay, fine. Off we go.
I do think it's an unfair advantage we have that we literally came in completely uneducated on any of this, and we just went to the experts and they said, what are your biggest problems? If you were starting from fresh from a company that had no preconceptions and no agenda, what would it do? And so we are a Frankenstein monster of
That's the best way to build stuff.
Yeah.
So, you're not only fixing a problem, but you've actually managed to get deep into everyone who is fed up.
Yeah.
Because they are all fed up, right? From small to big, they're all just fed up of it's like school, right? School's an antiquated system. It's been like the same thing for 100 years.
Yeah.
Booking a reservations table, same thing for 30 years. Everything's been the same. So you're actually coming in and had the amazing opportunity of meeting all these. I mean, I'm in awe of the time that they've given you, which is amazing. But they then know that there's a problem to fix.
We've been very, very lucky with the time we've got. And I guess, I don't know, I've always worked, I've said it already, in fanciful, glamorous to start with, and then just pure utility. You could still do the thing that you'd gone to do whether my technology worked or not, would be the website, the integration to a booking, because you just ring them, the order table, you just flag someone down. Lovely, great technology, but just utility. This feels like it's actually real, like it will actually impact people's lives, like it'll actually have positive impacts, hopefully, on their lives as well. So I think it's really exciting.
They're so exciting.
So I've got other questions here, but we can. I'm going to skip some of this. So,
Okay.
Timelines, like where are you now? What? Go on. Let's have a listen.
We went live to candidates start building their profiles pre-Christmas, middle of December.
Yeah.
So I think we're up to number 815 of candidates that have signed up. Sam can't see any of this really because I don't think he can be trusted not to.
I don't need him, I'm afraid.
So 815 of candidates, they are registering, filling out their culture, their competencies and their compensation. They're choosing their candid name, so their candid handle. We scraped 1,500. Yeah. We need to do more. 1,500. Need to make a little note of that, actually.
Yeah.
1,500 restaurant menus, pulled off dish names, and that's what
I love that.
That's what you are on the platform. So I think I'm beef jerky.
I think I'm sausage roll.
I think you're sausage roll.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's the way it's gone. And we actually put some Google Analytics tracking on the button that says regenerate options 2 weeks ago. And I looked at it before we came in here because I thought it was an interesting point. 16 times average.
Yeah.
Pressing that button to find one that they associate.
And like, some guy last night in the awards, like the longest thing was regenerating.
Yeah,
to find the name that I associated with.
It's like, what is your animal? What's a spirit animal?
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah.
And we've had so many conversations about how we allow a candidate to show a little bit of personality in the platform, but also keep them completely anonymous. Colour. I want to know, actually, if you pick blue, you're probably a boy. Like, all those kind of conversations we had. So, yeah, we went live to candidates 15th of December, I think it was. We're going live for companies to start building their profiles in about 50 minutes.
50 minutes?
I'll be on a train. Yeah. So if it breaks, we'll just push it back by a few hours because that's the kind of thing that happens. But, yeah, 50 minutes. Companies are already soft registered. They're going to go on there, build their profiles, start building their jobs, which is probably like a couple of minutes. I can fly through a form in 2 minutes. Yeah. So maybe 5 minutes for the first one. They have to load up a few images, and then the matchmaking will begin.
Who were our first four? So we're going to have Vic Eagledon from Flight Club,
Yep.
Hannah Plum from The Alchemist, Tom Avachi from Turtle Bay, and Sam Beach from New World Trading Company, because
Yep.
they were 4 of our biggest inputs over that 5-month period, and they've had as much input to this platform as we have at this point. So there's some people that hopefully we're very proud when this is a big success, because they really were there from day one.
It really interesting. We were obviously at RMI Awards last night, and I can't remember who it was, not through drink because I didn't know them, but they doorstopped me. So, you're working with Sam, you're doing Candid. Have you got any data analysts? And I instinctively was just honest with him. I was like, I've no idea. What do you mean? I was like, well, it doesn't matter whether we've got them or not. There needs to be the right one for you, with the right conversation, culture and competencies. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll speak to Sam about it. I was like, yeah, we'll say the same thing. But like, we're not, you mentioned kind of recruiters. I don't think we're coming up against recruiters. We're going to sit against, like, on the same side as them. They'll have different roles that we might have. Probably couldn't honestly sit here and say we're not going against job boards, because we are just the next evolution on the job board. But the matching, I think, in earnest will start on Monday next week. And say I was a candidate for a marketing role, and
Hold on a sec. The deep breath. As soon as you said that, you hear the deep breath come
My
out.
brain was like, hold on, I've done so many LinkedIn posts with a platform that's not live. I'm going to do like 4 a day as soon as the things turn up.
every time I've shown something, it's like we're a real company. I'm like, we are. There's a reason for it, Sam, we are.
It looks so unreal.
Exactly. The matching algorithm will start to match a candidate against a job. It's just maths. There's nothing, I mean, to be honest about it, there's nothing too clever in there. How we're building it is clever. But it's just a big maths query. And then candidates get put into a room, it's called The Room, with their company. The company's got no idea who they are. Candidate can see that it's Pizza Pilgrims, for example. There is a candidate conversation chat widget in there, so they can do back and forth, WhatsApp style chats. They are forced to upload all of their policies as a company. So mat leave has to be on there, pat leave has to be on there, sickness policy, because we, again, through all the interviews we did, females, 90% of them, of the ladies we interviewed, told us that I can't ask for a maternity leave policy, because if I ask for it, I don't get the job. And I sat there and I thought, great, we'll just force it as a thing that you have to upload before you can start putting jobs in. Because it's there, you don't need to ask for it. It removes all of those awkward conversations.
I think everything, all of it, all the stuff you're uploading is getting rid of 70% of those awkward conversations anyway.
Exactly. We I mean, again, going back to us not knowing anything about HR, Tom from Turtle Bay, Tom Avachi, sent an email last week saying you have to be careful with the protected characteristics. ChatGPT, what are protected characteristics? Like we're learning on the job, by.
Yeah, we're learning at the same speed as ChatGPT.
So the other question, nearly ready. The other question is legals, right? Is there the legal aspect of all the bits that you're doing, as in, or is that piece still learning as you go, or because you're the mediator, you don't need to worry hugely amounts? Obviously, GDPR is important, great, but is that a big piece in this?
I also couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we've got a wonderful friend from school called Danielle that's going to help us. That's very good when it comes to employment law and legal. So we'll send her on for our own podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are comfortable because we're just starting a conversation. It's completely down to the company whether they hire.
Absolutely right. All you are doing is just connecting two people together.
Exactly.
We take the entire market and refine it, and then block some, and then push these into a room, and then we give them tools to refine it further and say, there's your final 5. Pretend we don't exist. You're going to do your normal processes.
I think the other nice piece is that other people don't know who the final 5 is. It's all very much that nice piece of like, everyone thinks they're going to get a job anyway, right? And if they don't get a job, then it just wasn't.
Yeah, they can experience the night and no one knows who they're.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Right,
you got to go.
Let's go for my train.
Well, I think I mean, if he knows the other questions, questions for next guest, we can jump off. And
I'll give you a hug now, and you can just run for your line.
I would hope, but I'm stuck behind the mic.
I'll just say it, Anne.
Yeah,
Thanks, fellas. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a round of applause. And that's the wrong one. This has been really interesting, actually. Super interesting about everything that's going on. I think it's crazy.
Thank you, man.
And my brain's still understanding how your brain's going of like, how are we a company?
Yeah.
Because you're learning as you go.
Yeah, it's been a lot of very fortunate events gave us the opportunity to do this, and we're going to grab it with both hands.
Okay, so I think that, to be fair, we're right at the end anyway. So we've got the last question, except for the other questions, which was future developments and vision for 2025.
Okay.
How has the feedback from early adopters influenced the development of Candid Hospitality, and what is the future looking like? And how and will the Brown family be doing more ads?
Oh my God, that was so popular. Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was so popular.
Yeah.
So we did.
Did you not expect that?
Well, we do move so fast. So literally, the morning of that being recorded, we were chatting on our normal morning stand-up and said, okay, we need to announce the winner of the raffle. We should do it in a way that gets a bit of attention and gets the news out there, because we could just announce and tell whoever wins that they've won. But we should take every opportunity to bring a story to life and bring people on the journey and bring more attention. And so we were just saying stupid ideas back and forth. And again, another idea stolen from Airship, which is a beautiful thing there, which is it's a true no-blame culture, which is rare in businesses. It's a hard thing to live, which is things are going to go wrong, but no one should go home feeling shit. So things go wrong. We say, okay, how did it go wrong? Can we avoid doing it again? If the same thing keeps happening, the more serious conversation happens, but no point in biting someone's head off. And it led to these beautiful meetings where it was true just spitballing and saying ideas, and there was no stupid idea. And often the bones of our bad ideas would guide our pathway to this brilliant idea and all the great things you saw.
Well, look, you had toggle time, right? So I mean, that's it.
Toggle time. I mean, Chico, that was a stupid conversation. I was like, toggle time sounds like Chico time. I was like, should we see if I can just get him in a cameo? And then one day, one of our team was like, I've just Googled Chico's agent's number. Do you want it? And in most companies, they'd be like, we're trying to do a serious top to bottom funnel marketing strategy for our SaaS company. Like, let's fucking ring him on loudspeaker now. And we rang Chico's agent. And, these things, they just snowball from an environment where everyone knows they're safe. And so on man Nick's calls, we just say stupid stuff. And Nick's often like, that's terrible. But they kind of like guide.
Sometimes terrible's good.
Yeah, but, the more, when I was raised, I was taught that a really negative thing and a really valuable thing have the same value, but a neutral thing has no value, and you want to deviate to either awful or brilliant, but never be boring. And so that morning we said these stupid ideas, and I think I was like, well, why don't we do like an award ceremony draw? We'll get the kids in because they love this stuff. And then he was like, we can wear a tux. And Nick's got this fantastic house in Yorkshire with this great backdrop, and his kid Sydney was in it, who was HQ in Yorkshire. My two kids that are just feral, the older two, they were in it, and Lily was a great co-host. And I mean, that just blew up. The whole thing, we took about 20 takes to try and do it. We did one great take. I was like, we're done, thank God. And I realised that Rudy, my 5-year-old, had no pants on. I was like, for the love of God. Okay, here we go again. So that was great fun. But yes, we will be doing more videos, because last night we got asked that a lot. And in terms of how will feedback help us grow, it's a really nice thing. And again, we've taken it from previous businesses. So the 62 companies that interviewed with us, we keep speaking back to them about advice, which we're very privileged to have. The 100 plus candidates that we had, we often send emails to them. So as Nick said, 815 candidates have completed their account. We've had over 1,000 that have registered for our wait list when we went live originally. We keep just emailing them, and more waves just come on and complete their account. We often go back to them and say, do you have any feedback? So we did a thing recently. We emailed them all and said, here's a form. Could you let us know why you signed up to Candid? Like, we don't know any of you. And Nick was like, I wonder if they'll fill it in. I was like, I don't know. And we had like 50, 60 responses within a couple of hours. And we did a LinkedIn post saying, here's their job role, and here's why they said they've signed up to Candid. It was this amazing feedback for us. And then two really nice things have happened, which I'm really happy and proud that we did. We've set up 2 separate communities. So we've got a WhatsApp group called Candid People, and every single company that joins can put as many people as they want into there from their people team or their recruiting team. And in there we share feedback and updates and timelines. We also do polls, we do feedback requests, we put forms in. There's an anonymous form, they can put things in.
Hospitality loves a bit of WhatsApp.
They love it, and they can all talk about their own issues with people.
You've done what TMM has done, but for literally, that one. Because there isn't anything for that for them at all. They're all siloed. Right? They might know some people who know somebody, so you're actually building a nice community.
Well, which is the idea, to absolutely plagiarise what Vic Searle did, but also you can only be in there if you're a Candid customer.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of building our own little ever-growing silo. So there's 50 plus brands in there now already, and it's wonderful.
Nice because they can now ask questions when they're not sure about stuff or who's doing what.
Yeah.
What the other one is. Yeah. Which is pretty awesome, and hopefully you won't get what are you doing on the weekend.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite nice because I think since COVID, businesses want to help each other more.
Yeah.
Which I find really amazing.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Which is really
so
nice. It's so nice, and everyone wants to help each other. And I think on the people space, that I don't know of any but I don't think there's even any community. So not only are you building the platform, you're actually building a whole sense of community behind it.
We're trying. It started so well, and that's a lovely. And we have another community for the candidates. We put out a post on LinkedIn saying we're going to set up an anonymous Candid Council, which Nick touched on. And we had almost 100 candidates approach us, but really senior, like director level candidates from really big operators and big suppliers saying, I'll be in the Candid Council. I was like, okay, but all 20 of you plus me and Nick will know you're in there because we see each other. So there's a little risk. And we had a fair few that went, okay, well, I can't be in. But you still, I mean, obviously I can't share who's in it, but we've got, CTOs and MDs and founders and marketing directors and heads up, and then some junior staff in there and some unemployed, got a couple of chefs in there. And we go to them almost daily and say, can you let us know what your thoughts are on this poll about salary brackets?
You're just getting immediate response. This is crazy.
It's so fast.
Like, most companies go out to market research, will go out and sit down in a room and have the questions, and then the market research company will do the polls for you and come back. You're actually getting immediate responses to stuff you're doing. And with WhatsApp, because hospitality is so WhatsApp driven, you're going to get, like, your polls you're doing on both sides, the responses you get will be massive.
Well, there's some really interesting things that are happening. So we're doing polls in some instances on LinkedIn with the same wording at the same time as put into the WhatsApp groups. But on LinkedIn, your answers are anonymous, and in the WhatsApp group, everyone can see what you've put. And often the skew is completely different. Ooh. So one time it was, if you could improve one element of your current job, would it be the culture, your own competencies to do it, or your compensation? And on the anonymous poll, over a third of the answers were more money. But on the poll where everyone can see each other's answers, no one put money.
That's so interesting.
And we're like, there's something there. And we even asked them and said, just so you know, here's what on LinkedIn, why do you think that is? Why have we answered so differently in here when we can see each other? And that started its own conversation.
So interesting.
Well, there's some, I'm just going to share some completely out of order for the conversation, some great stats and sound bites here, because throughout all of our research, we managed to find out some stats about the impacts of unconscious bias in recruitment in hospitality. And these are wild. So if a female applies for a head office role in hospitality, they are 38% less likely. Well, they're 30% less likely to get the role compared to an identical male CV, and a further 12% less likely to get the role if they're perceived to be of childbearing age. So if an employer looks at these CVs automatically, male, female, even if they don't know it, and if they're perceived to be childbearing age, it goes down almost 40%. If you've got a non-white sounding name with an identical CV, 48% less likely to get a job. If you're perceived to be over the age of 50, you're 25 times less likely to get invited for an interview in hospitality.
Wow.
So we saw this, when we actually test this theory out, we speak to some phenomenal people who've got these amazing careers in hospitality, and they're sending out 100 plus applications through Indeed, and they're just not getting anything back, because when we actually sat down with a lot of these hiring managers, 48% of them said that they were aware bias played some role in their selection process, and 20% of them said they couldn't be sure. So that to me is 60+%, and I think it's across the entire globe.
Can I say something, actually? An interesting thing for your platform. So when Matt was here from Crowd, one of the things he was talking about was the transition from hospitality to other sectors.
Yeah. Because
people, their thought process of people in hospitality is, you went for jolly for the last 5 years. Yeah. So you had a bit of laugh. We're a finance company. We don't do that. And I think what you're building, as you start to do into different sectors, can actually really help. Because he was saying that someone he knows has been in hospitality for like 7 years, wants to change, and the struggle of moving from hospo to another sector. Because sometimes you've done your stint in hospitality, you want to move, and you don't have the opportunity to have what you want. But what you're doing, I think, actually, as you start to hit other sectors, could be really interesting.
Well, we're hoping we've bought all the relevant URLs for Candid Hospitality, and then the idea is you could take those competencies and say, well, what does it match against this like-for-like role in another sector? But to answer your question, how is it going to guide our development? Everything we do, we have these 4 or 5 communities, and we're 100% transparent with them. We're just going like, tell us if we're being stupid. We need to know, like, if it's shit, you need to just, we say to the people in the operator and supplier WhatsApp group, as soon as you have an issue, you put it in here and tell everyone else, because I bet half of them are having the same issue, and we know, and we can fix it, and we can come back and let you know. And we're not precious. We're both pretty thick-skinned, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's really interesting that you're doing that. I don't know many companies that have had the opportunity to build the network.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
So you're now going to be able to immediately change stuff around. You know, so I mean, listen, the TMM is a little bit like airship heavy. So when someone's like, oh, does anyone do and the airship team are like, we do this. So less David for impact data. He's like, I was like, I'm a little bit quiet here. I told him to be a bit more louder in that group. But you know, that is sort of a airshipy user group as well. So it is very interesting. But for you, I think it's paramount on the culture and all the other C's that you're doing, building that community, because it's about community and
community. That's a C as well. Great, everything's a C.
It's a C. Luckily, seriously.
Chat GTP, that's a C.
Oh, nearly GPT. Question for I'll tell you about WhatsApp in a minute, because you can convert WhatsApp into a community group.
Okay.
So you can have announcements, and then you can have.
We're going to do a broadcast channel for all the candidates. Yeah. Because then only we can do it. But any advice, I'd love to know about that.
That to you. Okay, so this has been awesome, by the way.
Thank you for this.
Thank you for coming. Final questions, and you have Nick's as well. That'd be great. Or not.
I'll see if I can remember any of his.
You can always give them to me later. Best restaurant.
What did Nick say for best restaurant? Nick's a real foodie. He puts me to shame. He likes eating all this posh food that doesn't sit well with my Lancashire palate. So he would have said something ridiculously. He goes to places and he's researched bistros around the corner in Paris like 6 months ago. Again, mine is about how things leave me making me feel, and you know, my family is my why, and my kids are just God love them, and you know, they get involved and they're such good sports. So my favourite restaurant to go and eat at is Hickory's in our village. The staff are incredible with the kids. The setup, my 2 eldest adore it. It's safe for my youngest to toddle around. They've got a cinema in the corner. My kids actually...
They've got a cinema in the corner?
They've got Hickory's have a cinema, a room in the corner. It's like 4 rows. They're playing Disney and Pixar films non-stop.
Mental.
They give, as you walk in, they give...
Independent? Or...
No, as in, it's not, it's just a room.
Is it an independent restaurant, or is it a group?
Oh, at Hickory's. Yeah, no, it's a group. There's like 20 plus of them,
amazing.
Mostly up in the Northwest.
Yeah.
The team there are great, but it's American-themed diner. There's a little archway in the corner. Kids go in, they get popcorn entry. There's a big popcorn machine. So the team are trained like American hospitality. They're like super accommodating. They say hi to the kids, high five. Here's a popcorn. Go and sit in the cinema. So me and my wife, we can sit at the table. We can go, this is amazing. Order our food. You call the kids back. You all eat together. They love the food. For me, it's all meats and carbs and American milkshakes. So I love it. The whole atmosphere is American sports, but it's full from breakfast to closing. In our little village. There
aren't as many as that. Like the TGIs have all gone, right?
And this is...
The start of those sort of like family, the Frankie and Benny's aren't hardly anymore. But I wish there were more around this end.
If you can get to Hickory's, the Hickory Smokehouse is my favourite place to be, because...
You just said Smokehouse, I'm already in.
All right, so the food, as well as everything else, top tier.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll tag them in. Best burger.
Best burger. And Hickory's, on the actual video we did, when I said to Lily, where would you spend your £1,200 gift card? I spent Hickory's. And Ego, she mentioned as well. She likes Ego. There's a pub at the end of our road. Best burger. In London or everywhere?
Anywhere.
I think my answer's the same. I had some great burgers around the world. Black Bear Burger, to me, when I had that for the first time, I was like, Jesus, this is very good. And they do poutine. When I ordered it and they described it, I was like, you mean cheesy chips and gravy? I was like, you can't rename cheesy chips and gravy with this posh name. So
You're in London, you can do whatever you like.
Nonsense. So a Black Bear Burger with cheesy chips and gravy. Very good.
Yeah, I think Black Bear Burger is an awesome brand. Best hotel.
Oh my God. So I was laughing last night with Natalie from Kitch about this and Emma from Young's. I have this game that I've been playing for about a decade to stay in the worst hotels I can in London. So like the worse and the better the story, the better. So Nick stayed in some phenomenally lovely hotels, but I actively try and stay in the worst I can get, which is why we always stay in these random Airbnbs, the two of us, because I tried last night. It was like a MC Escher painting. It was a wild staircases everywhere. A few months ago, after the competitive socialising event, I stayed in a B&B in Camberwell, and I didn't research it, and it was a Latino Jesus themed B&B. It was unbelievable. There was tiny dolls everywhere, Mexican masks. It was all like Mediterranean tiled. At the end of my bed was this massive painting of Jesus on a cross, but in like Latino theme. I found a toenail in my bed that wasn't mine. It was super exciting. I had a great... Honestly, I couldn't wait to tell. And now there's people at events that are seeing, they're like, where have you been recently? Because I do enjoy terrible comedy. Because I'm only there for 5 hours.
And you're not even in there, to be fair, you're just sleeping, right?
That's it. I usually even, I'm travelling down my hanging wardrobe, my case, I move around, and at the end of the night, I'll get there at 1 a.m, I'll wake up at 6 to go for a run, 5 hours then, minimum. There's no point spending it. I can spend it on Google and Meta ads with Jack Edge at Edgy and get more candidates signed up. I'd rather do that. But yeah, it's I love a bad accommodation.
What about your best hotel?
Oh, where is the best hotel been?
The best hotel you've been to?
Oh, well...
that definitely hits the worst.
Okay.
Or one of the worst. That's very interesting.
Okay.
The best hotel. It could be a family one if you wanted to.
Well, when I was younger, me and my brother... wait, I have to be in the UK or
No,
not?
anywhere.
When I was younger, we had a rough time as a family, and I was 18, my brother was 16, and my mum was, I think essentially went, fuck it, we're going to Vegas. I was like with an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old boy in you, and just me, my brother, and my mum went and stayed in New York, and Las Vegas, and to 2 kids that age, it was like being in a different world. And, Las Vegas hospitality is just insane.
Mental.
You shouldn't go there with kids under 21, really. It's not suitable. My mum is an amazing, unique woman, and we went and stayed in New York. It was a lot of fun.
That was a
good hotel.
Okay, I like that. I'll tag him in. Okay, 2 questions for the next guest.
Okay. So I know what Nick's was. His was quite vanilla. I'm going to ask one that I put on LinkedIn yesterday because my daughter woke up at like 2 a.m. I'm losing track of the days. Yesterday morning. I was like, Daddy, and I came in, and she must have seen it on one of her kids' shows or on YouTube Kids or something, and she's asking for a drink, and she said, if you could have any liquid coming out of each of your 5 fingers, what 5 liquids would you have? So I would like the next guest to say what 5 liquids they would choose to have coming out of each of their fingers.
That's a really interesting conversation.
Oh, it turns out, I asked a lot of people last night, people go in really very different directions with it. One lady last night was like, just 5 different types of fondue. I was like, you're disgusting. I was like, 5, don't, the mess. I mean, mine would be like Diet Coke, black coffee, and then things like printer ink, oil, diesel, great. Constant money, constant caffeine, let's just keep going. Okay. But yeah, if they could tell us that.
Not like gold, Can
you get liquid gold? Yeah, okay. It just has to be a liquid.
Yeah.
If you can melt it down and it's worth money, I want it coming out of my fingers. And Nick's question was, have you heard of candidhospitality.co.uk? That was his actual question. So he's like, he just wants them to say it on the next pod, I think.
That's fine.
Mine's fun. Nick's is business related.
Yeah, I like that. We like fun and business related. I'll have to write it down afterwards because I'm going to forget the 5.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do I'm going to put this here because you can hear it. So I'm going to do where is it? So you should be able to do it, which is nice. So that's your round of applause.
Thank you very much, Adam.
And thank you for coming. You can give everyone a wave goodbye.
Goodbye.
Nick's already given us a wave.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
He shot out. So this is awesome. I really appreciate your time.
I really appreciate you letting us on.